Karma is bandied around a lot as the law of cause and effect, with little or actual nuanced understanding. It is not simply, quote, what goes around comes around. Your karma is an energetic memory of a pattern of past action that creates a prism. The sacred flows through you, and your karma creates interference that reflects how you experience that flow. Your karma is not a flaw or a fault. It is not good or bad. Your experience of it is not judgment or punishment or retribution. You are not paying a debt in that way. It just is. What has come before, karma, marks the way of your path now, what you're here to offer and what you're here to learn. And it is much more complex than simply your past actions having created a chain of results. Your soul is the sacred expressing as you. It is the dance of the cosmos through you, creating, sustaining, dissolving, acting, experiencing, resolving, over and over and over again, infinitely. You are like a star, a pulsar, a black hole. Except you have the capacity to witness your own sacredness and to choose your own actions. Your karma was created by your thoughts, your energy, and your actions when you were unaware of and therefore disconnected from this dance of the cosmos through you. You, unaware that you are the sacred, try things out. And then your soul, aware that you are the sacred, seeks to work things out. Your soul has characteristics. It has memories. It has an energy pattern with interference and disruptions and longing. It expresses this pattern as your 5 energy fields, which I'll talk about in the excerpt that comes next. If your soul didn't have these things, it wouldn't be you. You could say that the defining characteristic of your soul, rather than purity, although it is pure in its endeavor, are curiosity and wisdom. Your soul knows what it's doing with your karma. You just don't know yet what it's doing. It's working some stuff out. It's fulfilling some curiosity about some other stuff. And it's receiving the fruits of its desire in yet other ways. In short, your soul is seeking resolution. And seeking this resolution is what it is here to do. This is why you can know what is distracting and derailing you. You can know what's distorting the evolution of your body of work, and that doesn't change anything. It only makes you even more frustrated because now you think you should be able to do something about it and be free of it. It's why you can get all the strategic advising and mindset coaching available to you, and you can take all the seemingly necessary actions to get the work you really want to do out into the world, but nothing seems to actually work. And it is why you can have done years of therapy and energy work and all of the things and still be dealing with the same thing. It is why you might feel like a perplexing, inexplicable exception. Your soul is not here to do those things or to do those things that way. It is here to untangle your karmic knot, to bring resolution to this long-standing pattern that binds you, which is why all those other things will keep bringing you right back to it. To untangle it, you need to work with what your karma is, where it is in you. It's not out there somewhere, bearing down on you, waiting for you to stumble upon it. It's woven into the fabric of your being. That is what I'm sharing with you today. It's an excerpt from my audiobook, This Again, Untangle the Root of What Distracts and Derails You from Your Life's Work. To understand what karma is and where it is
requires understanding what, through a tantric lens, makes you you. You are energy. You are vibrating energy. And through the lens of Tantra, you express as 5 energy fields of different density across the energy matter spectrum, called koshas. Your koshas have measurable bioenergetic fields and currents, but they are traditionally understood as dimensions of how the sacred expresses as you and how aware you are of that. They are most often visualized as a set of nesting dolls with yourself, your eternal essence, that quiver of universal energy that is the unique vibration of you at the center. Around yourself, your 5 koshas are expressions of yourself at increasing densities of energy matter. And like the visual of the dolls, they hide yourself from you. You can also visualize your koshas as heavier and heavier cloaks that your essential self is wearing, or prisms through which you experience it. They give your essence shape and form, but that shape and form also obscures the nature of your essence itself. How much that shape and form obscures your essence depends on how opaque the layer of shape and form is. You are in dialogue with both yourself and the sacred through each of your koshas. It is through them that you naturally speak their language, and they yours. If that sounds odd or unlikely, consider that your biofields, particularly those of your brain and your heart, exchange and retain information energetically without a material biological mechanism, and that the measurable and observable biofield effects are non-local and non-linear, resulting in the exchange of information between bodies across space. And simply stay curious. You can cultivate a lived, actualized experience of your koshas, a felt sense that has a nuance of understanding about what they are and how they operate. Your physical body. Your physical body is your densest energy field, the field of matter, called your Annamaya kosha. It is everything about you that you can study in an anatomy class or a lab. Your bones, skin, muscles, organs, and all of your biological and chemical functions, for example, metabolism, respiration, cell reproduction, etc. Your physical body has its own wisdom, and it is in relationship with your other koshas, particularly your mind and your energy body, in a way that allows you to experience their wisdom and your pattern of constriction or imbalance, which is your physical body's expression of your karma. Your energy body. Your next densest energy field is your pranamaya kosha, the energy field of your life force, prana. Most often, your pranamaya kosha is called your vital body in English, because it is understood to sustain your physical body and to create a bridge between your physical body and your mind. But I refer to it here simply as your energy body. Your energy body expresses as bioenergetic currents called nadi, through which your life force flows. Where the bioenergetic currents of your nadi intersect, they create a vortex. Each vortex has a specific energy frequency at its center and a harmony of frequencies along its edges. These are your chakras. You have nadi and chakras throughout your energy body. In my lineage, we work with many of those chakras, particularly in your hands and feet, along your side body, between your ribs, and above and below your physical body. But your central and largest nadi, the sushumna, runs from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. Around it spiral the ida, initiated on the left side of your perineum and ending at your left nostril. And the pingala, initiated on the right side of your perineum and ending at your right nostril. Where the ida and the pingala intersect, they create your primary chakras from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. You experience your energy body as a felt sense, and you engage with it through your breath, and therefore your voice. Modern science has made some attempts to correlate your nadi and chakras directly to your nervous and endocrine systems. But your energy body was never conceived and is not understood as a biological reality in your physical body. And there is little empirical evidence for this purely biological interpretation. Your energy body is a map of interoception, your internal perception of the functioning of your body and your mind at their energetic intersection. And it is an interface between your physical body, your thoughts, your feelings, your senses, your extrasensory perception, and your environment, including the cosmos itself, that translates non-physical information into your physical experience. When you intervene in the flow of your life force through your energy body, it has an effect on both your physical body and your mind. Traditional systems of medicine, like Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, are structured around the flow of your life force through your energy body. Their remedies and procedures intervene here on the basis of its essential function of sustaining the vitality of your body and mind. And their understanding of disease is rooted in the obstructed flow of your life force and the energy body equivalents of your physical organs and bodily functioning. This is also where the practices of mantra and pranayama intervene to untangle your karma. We don't clearly understand, with our Western minds, the mechanics of how it works, but we know, we have evidence, that it works, and that its results are consistent with an emerging understanding of biofields and the non-local exchange of information that occurs in quantum mechanics. For example, neuroimmunologist Dr. Shamani Jain found in reviewing data from 66 peer-reviewed studies of the use of therapies that intervene in your energy body, that they affect your biology at a cellular level, including your hormones, your immune function, blood pressure, cortisol rhythm, and heart rate variability. If you've ever had acupuncture, you know that it works, particularly for chronic pain or patterns of seemingly disconnected symptoms that Western medicine can't seem to resolve for you. Your mind. Your third energy field is your manomaya kosha, your mind. This field expresses your manas, the part of your mind that is the accumulated, conditioned expression of thoughts and feelings, perceived and processed through your five senses. We often think of our thoughts and feelings as separate, not as arising from the same source. Thoughts are of our mind, feelings are of a messier and more ambiguous origin. We are culturally bombarded with messages that our thoughts create our feelings. And yet, you know the experience of feeling something and weaving an entire story about that feeling, rather than simply letting yourself feel it. The relationship between your thoughts and feelings is symbiotic, not causal. Your thoughts trigger feelings, and your feelings initiate thoughts, which trigger more feelings. It is this dynamic entanglement that is your manas, the wave of your ever-present, conditioned experience of your thoughts and feelings, and your instinct to identify with them. It is an intense challenge to untangle yourself from this dynamic. For all its plasticity, there is a rigidity to your mind. It knows what it knows, and it sticks to it. It wants you to make decisions based upon the limited information available to you right now through your five senses. It wants to know both the process and the outcome, and it wants to be sure. It takes an active force with the capacity to change your mind, to change your mind. It cannot do it for itself. This is why so much of the focus of the practices of Tantra, as well as other yogic and contemplative traditions, is to quiet your mind and temper its continuous fluctuations of thoughts and feelings, so that you can eventually cease identifying with them as what makes you you, and identify with your wisdom, or ultimately the sacred itself. I refer to your Manamaya Kosha here simply as your mind, and I use the term mind to include the entirety of your thoughts and feelings. Your wisdom. Your Vijnanamaya Kosha, sometimes referred to in English as your higher mind, Buddhi, is the energy field of your wisdom. It is your capacity to discern what is true. This aspect of you integrates information from your senses, your thoughts, and your feelings, and directly from yourself and the sacred, to understand what is true at a deeper level in any given situation. It has a different, subtler vibration than your everyday wave of thoughts and feelings. It has a different texture and a different energy, and it speaks to you and through you differently, often symbolically. How your wisdom speaks to you is specific to you, but it is the voice of that part of you that is connected to both yourself and the sacred. I refer to your Vijnanamaya Kosha here simply as your wisdom, your bliss. Your subtlest energy field is your Anandamaya Kosha, most commonly translated as your bliss body. This is the part of you that knows you are sacred and that you are not separate from the sacred. It recognizes and identifies as your eternal essence, that quiver of universal energy that is your unique vibration. And it witnesses the dynamic play of your other four energy fields, knowing that they too are the sacred. They too are an expression of your eternal essence. Your bliss is both ecstasy and contentment, the experience of being both empty and full, both merged and individuated at the same time. You experience being most fully you and not you at all. Here, you have access to the universal field, the sacred itself, all that ever was and all that ever will be, and you can make wise, grounded use of it. Your karma lives in your energy body. You experience your karma through your physical body, your energy body, and your mind. But your karma lives in your energy body as an interference in the clear, unobstructed flow of your life force. Your karma is an energetic stick in the flow of your nadi. It creates a pattern of interference in the frequencies of your chakras from the base of your spine to the center of your forehead between your eyes. And that interference modulates how you experience the flow of your life force and the flow of the sacred. Earlier, I described karma as a prism, but functionally, it's a flute. It closes off, narrows, or distorts the flow of your life force, like air through a flute. How it interferes, the particular pattern of interruption it creates, is specific to you. And so, how you untangle it is specific to you. But we'll get there. Your karma is an energetic lineage. It is through this pattern of interruption in the flow of your life force through your energy body that your karma endures as an energetic lineage, just like you have a biological family lineage, shaping how you experience yourself and how you experience life. As long as the energy pattern still exists, you will keep experiencing it in your life. You will also carry the pattern of interference from one lifetime to another. This is the tricky bit. When you die, your body and your mind dissolve, but your life force does not. It retains its energetic pattern and expresses it through your next body and mind, lifetime after lifetime. Unlike your genetic and familial lineage, you cannot trace the path of your karma. It has come through multiple genetic lineages, and it is not limited to the race or sex of the body you currently inhabit. It is the energetic memory of everyone you've ever been, every family you've ever been in, and every culture, every epoch, and every gender and race within the context of that time and culture. And you don't know who or what those are, nor could you, or would you want to. Your karma holds the whole of human experience in this very real way. This is why the root of what distracts and derails you can feel so elusive, intractable, and bewildering. And it is why analyzing it and why interventions like therapy don't work to untangle it. You're trying to resolve something, but you don't know what it is exactly you're trying to resolve or where it came from. And for the most part, there's no way for you to know, and it would not help you to know. You do not need to know in order to untangle it. You only need to focus on what you are experiencing right now, because your karma is playing out in this moment, and you untangle it in this moment. Karma is not only personal, it's familial. Karma is not only personal, it's familial. You accumulate and inherit karma through your family dynamics. It flows energetically, behaviorally, and psychologically from generation to generation. You might be familiar with epigenetics, which is the change in the expression of your genes due to non-biological factors, such as trauma or faith. Epigenetics is how your family history expresses through your physical body. Familial karma is the energetic equivalent, the inherited interference pattern in the flow of your prana. It is how your family history expresses through your energy body. This is why that repeated pattern of what distracts and derails you can feel so dense and so amorphous and out of reach. Sometimes a pattern that you're experiencing is not yours at all. It is something you picked up and carried for your lineage without knowing how or why, or asking how or why. Several years ago, I was waking up every morning feeling ashamed, and I didn't understand why. Its intensity was disproportionate and out of context. I had already done at least 2 decades of work with my own shame, and none of the elements of its previous appearances were present in my life. Then one morning, the shame was so nearly debilitatingly intense, I asked out loud, "Why are you here?" I had a lightning flash of knowing that it was my paternal grandmother's, and it was simply for being female. So often my clients have similar experiences in our work together. They discover that the shame they feel is not actually theirs, and that it is over an indelible trait. It's nothing they've done, and it's nothing they can change. It's not even how they actually feel about themselves, the trait, or their circumstances. They had picked it up and carried it without even knowing it. This can, ironically, make familial karma both the most challenging and the easiest to untangle. It can be a challenge to identify because you've internalized it and personalized it, which keeps it hidden and keeps you looking at yourself in order to untangle it. But once you've identified it and you know it's not yours, it's easy to lay down and not pick up again. In addition to inheriting karma, you are born into circumstances that will allow you to play out and untangle your karma. You and your family can be understood in that way as a karmic match. You provide each other the circumstances, dynamics, and opportunities to untangle it, if you choose to. This does not mean that if you are abused because of your karma, or that you chose it by some kind of soul contract. No one chooses abuse. No soul would choose that. Things happen in your life that are out of your control and have nothing to do with past karma. The forces that bear upon the circumstances of your life and your karma are far more complex than that. It is not a one-to-one cause and effect of your individual action or choice. Sometimes your soul decides to get here despite the circumstances. Your cleaving off of what has come before and your desire to create what you're here to create was that strong. Sometimes you're simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. You don't have any control over the actions of others, and therefore the karma created by and through them. And you don't have any responsibility for it. You have responsibility for your karma, your actions. That includes being compassionate and kind, not dismissive, but it does not include doing for anyone else what they cannot or will not do for themselves. Not everyone in your family will choose to untangle their karmic knot, or the knot that ensnares all of you. You will likely not know if, how, and whether they are, because you cannot know anyone else's karma. You can only know, and you can only untangle your own. But you can choose to untangle your karmic knot at any moment, and you can choose to untangle your threads in your familial karmic knot, even if no other member of your family chooses to untangle theirs. Your untangling of the root of what distracts and derails you is not dependent on anyone else. You can do it successfully without any member of your family changing a thing. That is the power and the beauty of it. When you do, you will untangle it not only for generations to come, but for the generations that have come before. It runs through you into the future and the past. Karma is also collective. Karma is also collective. You hold an energetic memory that is not only personal and familial, but collective. Our collective karma is our collective energetic memory of a widespread pattern of repeated and reinforced actions across populations and millennia that has become a framework of socio-economic organization and operation. Our collective karma is an aggregated pattern of our individual and familial karma, and it is internalized by us as individual and familial karma in a big circle. Talk about a knot. It is a collective consciousness that has deep roots and can exact a high actual or perceived cost to untangle. It expresses as our socioeconomic structures, systems, and dynamics, as our conscious and unconscious perpetuation of them, and as the assumptions, priorities, and values that underpin them. And it solidifies and masks itself until we think it's the only way, immutable and without escape. How we do things here in the West is only one way of doing things. It is constructed. It evolved over a millennium with a great deal of intention and force. But it feels like the only way of doing it to us. Capitalism, with its braid of colonialism, white supremacy, and patriarchy, and its worship of productivity, efficiency, and profit, is the densest collective karmic knot we are entangling. It lies at the root of Western culture, and it ensnares everything. Two things were eliminated from the economy and culturally denigrated and vilified in Europe's transition to capitalism between 1500 and 1700: the body and the sacred. A split was created, reinforced, and codified between the body and the mind, the material and the sacred, and between women and men, non-white and white, physically, socially, legally, and financially. The mind was elevated above all else. It was granted the attributes of will and reason, and those, made sacrosanct, replaced the sacred and ruled over the body. The body, reconceived as both mechanical and unruly, was denigrated and regulated. It was characterized as repugnant and base, without any wisdom or inherent value. It was regulated into an ideal for production and profit that had and has no relationship with any natural cycle or bodily capacity. And it became internally regulated by the individual through self-discipline, self-management, and self-regulation. The application of this perception of the body and the capacity of the mind to control it was not democratic. Some bodies, those of women, and soon after, those of indigenous Americans and enslaved Africans, were deemed more base, incapable of self-regulation, and in extreme need of control. The economic value of the work done by those bodies, as well as their social and legal status, was correspondingly reduced to zero. In the Americas, through the coerced labor of enslaved Africans and the construction and codification of a social and legal hierarchy by race. In both Europe and the Americas, through the unpaid domestic labor of women and the elimination of women's legal rights. And the sacred was eradicated. The folk magic traditions of Europe had understood the universe as living and interconnected, without distinction between spirit and matter, much like the cosmology of Tantra. The human body and soul were an interconnected part of a larger whole, and subject to natural cycles and rhythms out of their control. Herbs, plants, planets, and the body itself possessed particular attributes and powers, and practices were designed to invite, access, and use those powers. The body was understood as a microcosm of the universe that reflected the cycles of astrology in its function and expression. Life and work were organized around the cycles of the sun, the seasons, and the body, and ritual and reverence were paid for their wisdom and beneficence. Women were the holders of this knowledge and trusted in these practices of ritual, healing, midwifery, and grief. They, the basis of their knowledge of healing, and the worldview in which it existed, were eliminated over the course of 2 centuries through the criminalization of reproductive care and the persecution and burning of witches. This happened over time and at the same time, until the norms, the values, and the split were so effectively internalized, perpetuated, and reinforced, individually and collectively, that you value the left brain, logical, scientific, and strategic parts of yourself and your work, and devalue the right brain, intuitive, creative, and sacred parts of yourself and your work, without even thinking about it. You are likely willing to charge and willing to pay high fees for left brain, logical, and strategic skill sets. You hold them in high esteem, with respect, admiration, and aspiration. You understand your identity through them and your success and value. You are likely willing to charge and expect to pay lower fees for right brain, creative, intuitive, and healing skill sets. You might wonder if anyone will pay you for them at all, or if you can or should charge for them or a premium for both. You might hesitate to bring them forward in your work, for fear you will no longer be seen or respected for your left brain, logical, and strategic skill sets. You might denigrate them, even if inadvertently, referring to them as woo-woo, or judging them less serious and less rigorous than their logical, strategic counterparts, even when engaged in by you. They likely remain suspect, regardless of their effectiveness. You likely choose to invest and focus on an identifiable, logical, and strategic solution, usually the same one you've reached for again and again. You may even make that the impediment to the creation, visibility, or success of your body of work. Rather than invest in cultivating your own presence, trusting your own wisdom, and reclaiming your own wholeness, let alone the sacred knowledge stolen from you. You might equate your productivity with the path to wealth, success, and your own worth, or chide yourself for and constantly feel anxious about not being more productive. Or you might overlook the needs of your body for your perceived need to be productive and fear either failure or survival or both if you were to work according to your body's needs. You likely feel like you need to pigeonhole your work rather than integrate your diverse interests or pursue multiple passions. And if you do pursue your multiple passions, you likely keep them separate from each other, without seeking out the relationship between them and the thread that weaves them into a cogent whole, more powerful than their parts. When you have tried, others have struggled to understand, which reinforced your not feeling seen or your questioning of the value of the work you really want to do. But you feel the pain of the loss, in the sense of wrongness and unruliness of your body's needs, in the lack of space for perimenopause or the cyclical rhythm of menstruation, or food or sleep, in burnout and busyness that keeps you running from the work you really want to do, in doubt and shame about the value of the work you really want to do and the effectiveness of how you really want to do it, in denial and delay of your own desires, your own brilliance, and your own wisdom, and in longing that is visceral and unnamed. Because your karmic knot, the root of what is distracting and derailing you from your life's work, is bound up with our collective karmic knot of capitalism. It is woven of the same threads, knotted in the same places. An innate and wise part of you is left out of capitalism by design. It was excised at the beginning, and its absence is being intensified and amplified by technology, the gig economy, and AI, reducing the cost of labor, and now intellect and creativity to zero. It is this separation, this casting out of part of you that you are feeling. It is this separation that creates your longing. And it is this separation that untangling the root of what distracts and derails you will weave back together. But when you embark upon reclaiming your wisdom, your creativity, and your relationship with the sacred as an equally valuable part of not just yourself, but your work, you will meet the snare of our collective knot. This is why the root of what distracts and derails you can feel so relentless, so dense, and so intractable, and why it can evoke such fear, rage, and shame. You are confronting not only your own pattern, but the entire collective pattern, and it will push back. Untangling the root of what distracts and derails you will inevitably ask you to see the braids of our collective karmic knot for what they are. Tell the truth about how they ensnare you, and choose to release rather than perpetuate them. The price will likely feel high, and the task itself perhaps impossible. It was for much of its history, and for women, Black, and Indigenous people in particular, literally death. Its force, and your fear of its force, are real. You are not spiritually or strategically deficient for feeling it and its momentum, or the potential consequences. And it is not the only reality at play. There is a deeper force, momentum, and sway, a deeper truth, a sacred truth of a different way of doing and being, that the root of what distracts and derails you is pointing you toward. You can choose to reclaim that. It is a fallacy to think that you can dissolve our collective karma or step outside or defy it through your own vibration, will, or ingenuity alone. You cannot do it alone. And yet, you cannot not do it. This will always be part of the karmic dilemma. There will always be more out of your control than in your control. And untangling your karmic knot will always ask you to act anyway. You can do what you need to do for you to untangle the root of what distracts and derails you so that you can do the work you really want to do. And in that, you will untangle your part of it, which will cease to perpetuate it through you. If you cease to rely upon our collective karmic knot for your security, your identity, and your decision-making, it will dissolve. This is the irony. Karma is fluid. Your karma is fluid. It is not a one-to-one or cosmic mirror action and reaction type of dynamic. It's not literal. What you're experiencing right now does not mean that you did or were the opposite in a previous lifetime. That's not the way karma works. It's not that simplistic or literal. And it is not punishment or retribution. It's a pattern ingrained in your body, mind, and energy that keeps repeating itself. Your karma is not what happens, but how you react to what happens, how you carry it with you that tells you that you're snagged in a knot, that there's something ripe there for you to untangle. What has happened before, whether in this life or others, doesn't matter, because you can untangle it by working with it wherever it shows up right now. If you've got a pattern with a parent, for example, you don't have to confront that parent in order to untangle the threads of karma in that relationship. Nor does your parent need to untangle the threads of their karma in your relationship. You only have to meet the same dynamic and your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors wherever and however it shows up in your life right now.